Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting for Wednesday, July 17th. Hopefully everyone is staying cool. We apologize for a few minute late start. We were in exec session that we needed to wrap up before we came here. I'm calling our July 17th, 2024 Select Board meeting to order at 7:05. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by WACA TV and live streamed on Facebook. Remote participation is available using the Zoom video conferencing platform. Any disruption of the video conferencing platform will result in the platform being shut down. In the event of disruption, broadcasting will continue on WACA TV and live streamed on Facebook. So welcome all. We're going to go right into citizens participation if you're here to participate. I see you online, Helen, and we'll take you after Mark goes. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. Thank you, Mark Tassoni, 49 Hawthorne Road. Let me stand back so I can see myself. Oh no. I just want to ask, all these boards and comprehensive plan and everything else, with the zoning board has not really been heard from. Can the thank you. Then the zoning updates needs to be done before everything else in the future of this town. I would like to ask, if I can say it in a way, if a subcommittee of a zoning update committee can happen to work on everything that's going to be for this town working forward. Can that happen? I
believe any zoning committees or subcommittees would have to come through our planning board because they manage zoning. I do know there's also been discussion through the comprehensive plan that we may need to look at some zoning updates, but I don't believe that the comprehensive plan is at a place where we can do that yet.
And if not yet, but if it can be heard
I would say I'm hearing that you're suggesting and that you'd like to participate in that, Mark. And like I said, it would be a planning board decision to create a zoning subcommittee. It's not the purview of the select board at this point.
Okay. And this is ended with this. This board and the planning board are planning to have a joint meeting.
So we have a couple things coming up with the planning board. We're doing one that we call the Get to Know You. So that is going to be an in-person event, get to know you, and then we will be having a joint meeting. I believe right now it's scheduled for September 4th, where it's really our consultant from the Comprehensive Plan Committee that will be presenting to the two boards. So again, public is welcome to come and listen to that, and then that will help determine what next steps may be.
And can zoning be an idea of what could be talked about then?
Well, again, I think there will be zoning discussion coming out of the comprehensive plan process. So zoning will be discussed, but again, it's an appointment. It would be something from the planning board to determine, based on the comprehensive plan goals that are created, what needs to be done.
And with the planning board and select board and being in a joint meeting, that'd be the best.
Again, we can put citizens' participation at the beginning of that, but a discussion about what will happen specifically for a zoning subcommittee, I think we're still a little bit premature in that right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Helen, go ahead and unmute yourself, or we have to unmute her. I forget. There we go.
I think I'm unmuted.
You are, and we can see you.
Okay, good. Hi. So I came tonight just to do a quick update on the village burial ground and the progress that we've made. I sent a letter to all of the select board with an outline of all of our progress, and Yolanda asked me if I'd like to come in person. So here I am, and I thought I would just sort of run through all our goals and next steps. So our goals for 2024 were to remove brush, debris, invasive plants, and trees, and uncover buried or partially buried gravestones, treating invasive plants with water-safe herbicide to reduce the need for further cleaning. And we have made great progress on this. We are planning some additional fall brush removal events. We still do have work down there that needs to be done, so we will be planning some additional events in the fall for that. And also Kathy Rooney will be doing additional remediation of the invasive plants, including poison ivy over the summer and fall. We weren't able to get rid of all of the poison ivy before she injured her leg. So she'll still be working on that as soon as she's feeling a little better. Another one of our goals was our cleanup training weekend in June, June 22nd and 23rd. This was cleaning headstones using D2 with a conservator oversight, which we did accomplish, as well as our training, which was done that weekend for our volunteers. And those volunteers now have a small group of people who are trained, and some of them are actually seeking out additional training through the conservator TNT, who offered to let them come to off-site locations to volunteer, and for that they get additional training, which is very nice for us to have them have that training. And as a result of all of that training, we had 15 gravestones that were restored and repaired. And they are going to be planning to have some additional work days again over the summer and into the fall of 2024 and the spring of 2025. Documentation, another goal that we had for the property, which is that every gravestone at the village burial ground will be documented. What hopefully we'll be able to figure out exactly who is there and isn't there, and we have volunteers working on this project, and we're going to be mapping it out so that we know where each individual gravestone is located, as well as having a book with all the information of before and after of what the condition of the stone was in, what the condition of the stone is now. And then our next steps are additional organized brush removal dates. Like I had said, we are trying to coordinate with the Boy Scouts, and we've talked with them, and we're trying to see if we can get them to come in the fall to do some additional brush cleanup. And we have additional work days again by the trained volunteers. We're planning to do a further fundraising for our assessment and applying for CPC funding after the assessment, and exploring financial resources available through the VA for Civil War veterans. We do have a number of Civil War veterans gravestones that are located in the village burial ground, and an assessment for repairs that which will require professional assessment. We hope will be coming sometime after we get the rest of the property cleaned up, because there are more stones now. We're finding each time we go in, we're finding additional headstones that are buried and covered over by brush, which we really want to have an accounting for all of those before we have the assessment done. So we're hoping to get that done this fall and early spring, and then we'll have an assessment for the ones that require professional level of work. We're also planning on planting low growing grasses and native plantings, and working with the DPW to facilitate some signage and possibly, if it's possible, some stone wall repair. We plan on having some ongoing publicity and public information for to promote this and to have people come down and see what's going on. And maybe we were thinking something fun and educational with the Historical Society, and also a Civil War remembrance in the spring. The war started in April of 1861 and ended in 1865. So a small talk or remembrance ceremony to honor the veterans that are buried there, we were thinking, which would be a nice way to also keep it in the public eye. And then also part of our next steps are permanent signage, which would include signs for no dogs being allowed on the property, and 2 historical information kiosks. There has been some preliminary work done on this, and at some point we will be looking more into that. Also some publicity signage to seek maybe a temporary sign at the church that would announce to people how they can participate. And then if finances allow, eventually we'd also like to have some grave location services to tell us exactly how many people are interred at the site of the village burial ground. And so that's basically where we are right now. And I wanted to let you know and see if you had any questions.
Any questions on the update, or Joe?
I just have one quick question, Helen. Thank you for all the work that you and the committee is doing. It looks very, very nice. I know it's a lot of hard work and greatly appreciated. I hope when this is completed, that at some point there'll be some sort of map designating the locations of the grave sites so that we don't lose them like we've had over this past, eons. So,
Yes, we're working on that right now. In fact, I was at Town Hall today, trying to get the plot map that we have of the people who originally bought the plots at the village burial ground. We're going to have those enlarged so that we can have some volunteers go in, and we're going to create a system to map out the stones that are there and who's there buried in them. And then we're going to put together a book, like I had said, documenting all the information about each, each stone, who's there, what the condition was, what the condition is. But the map will be there so that you can find the stone as well.
right. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions or? Yeah, go ahead, Michael. Yep.
Yeah. Helen, and actually everybody who worked on it, I just have to point out, I think I went over there, I've been over there a couple of times, and you all have just done amazing work. It is really remarkable how far that has come. And I will have to say, it's, a lot of times volunteers, they come up with some ideas and do, a little bit of work and everything, and a lot of it kind of falls on staff. That has not been the case with this. It's really been a volunteer-driven event, with, obviously some light support, especially from DPW, but I mean, just from the fundraising to like getting the right people and everything and to the execution of it, it's really been volunteer-driven. And I just have to congratulate you so far. It's just been a real remarkable transformation. It's really cool.
Well, thank you. And I have to thank everyone. I mean, even, just everyone's been involved, everyone at the town hall that's really helped us, the select board giving us, the go ahead with the whole thing, and all the volunteers who showed up on all the volunteer days and who are also continuing to do research and work. And there's also, like I said, some site work going on with some of these volunteers. So it's truly a community project, and that was how we wanted it to be. Our goal was to get everyone involved, and we're really happy with that. And thank you, because everyone was a part of this, and everyone will continue to be, because there's, like I said, there's more work involved. So we will be ongoing down there, and we really hope to see it through to the end in another year or two. And it's been very inspiring to see the community come out and to see how much engagement we've been able to garner. So thank you.
Well, Helen, thank you for coming and speaking with us. And I too want to thank you and all the volunteers. What was interesting is I did have the opportunity to speak with a couple of the volunteers on your volunteer day and speak with the people coming from TNT, the cleaning company. And they were very supportive and amazed and surprised and thankful. He said that a lot of times communities will start with this kind of project, but then they don't follow through. And the follow through that they saw here in Ashland to actually make it happen was, they thought it was the best they'd seen. He said a lot of people will get the funding, but that not follow through with it. So thank you. We know it's going to be continued work, and we appreciate that. And make sure you let us know when the dates are that you have so we can talk about them here and help you publicize that and continue to get volunteers to participate.
Thank you. Yes, we absolutely will do that. We more than welcome you to all come as involved as you'd like to. We'd love to see you down there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else for citizens participation? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to move into our first scheduled appearance. So thank you for those of you who are here for this first one for your patience. So we are going to discuss and appoint members to the local historic study committee. And I believe most of you who are in the House are here for that. But John, if you just want to remind people, not John Dudley, the other, right? Is Jim. I apologize, Jim. If you could just, remind our people who are watching exactly what we're doing here, because I think you can state it better. I mean, I could certainly read and summarize, but I think you could do better at that with us, for us.
Good evening, everybody. Jim Neilsen, 35 Ramblewood Drive, Ashland. With this back up a second, the Historical Commission a couple of years ago decided to look into creating a local historic district downtown. And we've gone through many parts of the process already. One thing that we have to still do is appoint a historic district study committee. We've kind of put the cart before the horse. The report, which I think I gave to everybody last time around, is to be submitted to the state, but before we can do that, we have to finalize it. So we have to get the committee together. It's going to be 3 to 7 people. It's going to meet 1 or 2 times, and it's my hope that the people that join the committee will also stick around and become involved, if we get this through town meeting in November, to become part of the local historic district commission, which will be a separate commission from the historical commission that will just regulate what goes on in the downtown area. For example, if somebody has some work they need to do or something like that has to happen, they'll have to go in front of the local historic district commission, not the historic commission. So that's kind of the point of why we're going through this. The historic, tonight, the people that we hope to get appointed there should be more than 3, well, it should be 3 to 7. And just, I would just like to remind everybody, if we could just meet down the end of the hall after this so that I can get everybody together and find out a good time for everyone to meet. And maybe, like I said, we'll have 1 or 2 meetings, and then we'll submit the report to the state. And I don't think we'll be back here for you guys at all, but,
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. So we have a list of people. I'm just going to read your name as I read your name. I mean, we've read your talent bank forms, but I think if you just come up to the podium and tell us, some of us know some of you know some of us. So this is really a way for you to introduce yourself to our community if you don't know people. And okay, so the first person on my list is John Dudley.
How you doing? John Dudley, 561 Chestnut Street, and I was attracted at being able to help in a way where it wasn't a super long-term commitment. But we'll see where that goes. Married, been in town since '02, 3 sons all through the school system. Now a couple of them in college. And I was at planning board 5 years, did a term, zoning review committee. I almost forgot about some of these other committees. It was like the comprehensive, it's another one you guys mentioned a little while ago. The CPA was a committee. So anyways, did a bunch of that. Historical sounded interesting. And then there was another one, a naming committee tonight, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right. And it would be helpful from the select board perspective. Is there like a charter or a goal of this? Or is this a historical bringing it to you guys? I mean, there's probably something you guys are like, we would like to see it do this.
Well, there is actually very established guidelines
Okay.
for what this committee is going to do, and I believe, Jim, will, when you get the committee together, we can make sure those documents come to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys have seen it and
Yes.
approve of it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Okay. Zofia Likowska. Did I say that right? Is Zofia here? Oh, we'll have to unmute her. She's online. She was the student, I believe, right? No? Anna is the student. Okay. I mean, we didn't require people to come, but, okay. So no Zofia. Okay. Anna is, the student is Anna. She's online. Okay. Anna, go ahead and unmute yourself. And can they turn on the camera now or not? Because of our security. So Anna, just introduce yourself and why you'd like to part. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person.
That's okay.
But my name is Anna Miksis, 63 Blue Jay Lane, Ashland. I'm a rising senior at Colgate University. I'm pursuing a bachelor's degree in history with a minor in museum studies. I feel like my education has provided me with a pretty firm understanding of like public history. So I see this committee as like an opportunity to apply some of this academic training to be a part of historic preservation, something I care about because my mom's family has lived in Ashland for 3 generations, so I'm a 4th generation resident of the town. And I think growing up in Ashland has really nurtured my curiosity about history, my sense of the past, my sense of place, a feeling of a hometown. And I like the idea of being able to be a part of this process that will hopefully protect or somehow contribute to the continuity of Ashland as like a historical place for future generations. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
when I read through your information, I was like, oh, perfect. Get to use your education right away. Anybody else, any
Yeah,
comments for
yeah.
Anna? No? Okay. Well, thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Jen Paratore, if I said that correctly. Thank you. Hi, Jen.
Hey, everybody. Jen Paratore, 164 Corderville Road. I'm the broker-owner of Corderville Realty here in town, and I'm also a former member of the Historical Commission.
Right.
So I served on the Historical Commission for 2.5 years. I was there when this idea to bring the historical district to life was conceived, and I believe in the mission wholeheartedly, and I think Jim and the rest of the Historical Commission has done a great job getting everything to where we are now. And when I was offered the opportunity to put my name into the talent bank for this, I said, absolutely, this is definitely something that I would love to serve on, so that's why I'm
Great.
here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any question? No? Okay.
Sorry.
Now, we have to have recommendations from our historical and from a Realtor, and we do have someone here. Caren? Yes? How do you
Hi
say
there.
it?
Caren, like car in the
Caren,
garage.
okay.
I made that up in 3rd grade, and here I am many, many
That's
years
very
later,
good.
and I'm
That's
still
very
using it.
good.
My mother was an artist, is what I usually say. I live at 56 Hardwick. I've been here in town for about 10 years with my 2 kids. I was approached by the Boston Realtor Association seeing if this is something I'd be interested in, and it absolutely is. I love being a part of town. I've been, youth sponsors for basketball and baseball and the AEFI for a long, long time. When I'm talking with folks who are thinking about moving or coming to the area, in particular, I've been doing a lot of transplants or people coming in from different parts of the country. What they're looking for is that quaint New England downtown, while also a thriving community with businesses and lots of resources for the community. So being part of this committee is something that I'm very interested in, to be able to balance those 2 things.
Great, great. Well, thank you for being willing to do that.
Sure, thank
Good.
you.
Okay, now we've heard from Jim, and then we have 2 recommendations from the Historical Society from Cliff Wilson, and our first one is Jim, and then Joan Gonfrade. Joan?
Joan Gonfrade, One Shore Road, Ashland. I've lived in Ashland for close to 40 years now, and I have to say that I've been on the Historical Commission for almost 2 years, and it's been very enlightening, and I think that I'm very concerned about losing our downtown, and I think it's very important that we put something in place to be able to preserve it. I've seen Ashland. I grew up in Framingham, but I've seen Ashland through my husband's eyes, and I really do love the town, and I just want to keep it. So
Great.
that's pretty much where I'm at.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
So we are fortunate we can do 3 to 7 members. So our plan, I believe, unless someone else is to appoint all of you who are here today and who came before us, as well as, even though Zofia isn't here, I believe she's, through her talent bank form, we wanted to add it. Any comments or
Just a clarification, just because on our agenda we had another person, Peter Wilner.
He has pulled himself off.
Okay, so I
Right,
just wanted to make
he will
sure.
not be joining us, or
Okay.
joining the committee. So, any questions or comments? Okay, then if I can get a motion to appoint John Dudley, Zofia Likowska, Anna Miksis, Jen Paratore, Caren Mulcunry, Joan Gonfrade, and Jen Neilsen to the Local Historic Study Committee with with an end at the end of the project. So there's
Yep.
no time frame, but it's just the end of the
End of the
project.
project, right.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other discussion or comments?
I think we're good.
Seeing none, all those in favor? Yeah, we have Claudia online. Claudia, did you have any comments or input? I don't know if you're at a point where you can respond.
There we go. I'm having a little trouble
Yep.
with my mute button, but no, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's offered to step forward for this, and I must have some folks who have some history on the in the commission themselves. So thank you all,
Okay, great.
and I'm prepared to vote.
Okay. Okay, so because we have Claudia remote, we do have to do a roll call vote.
Yep.
Akita Keegan?
Aye.
Joe Magnani?
Magnani, aye.
Kinsman?
Aye.
Bennett?
Aye.
And Greaves, aye. That passes 5-0. Thank you all for stepping up and being willing to participate in this. I love the variety of backgrounds and experiences that are going to be coming to have the discussion regarding this. So thank you for stepping forward, and good luck.
Yeah.
You have any questions or concerns? I think Jim has a good handle on this, but you can also reach out to any of us as well.
So, and Jim, I know Anna's online. I know you're gonna try to get the group together, but you'll connect with her.
On the talent bank.
Okay.
Yes,
Yep.
you have all
You
the
should.
talent bank forms. Perfect. Great.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for stepping up, everyone.
Yep. Are we expecting Alex to? Oh, Alex is here. Perfect. Perfect. There he is. Actually, John, do we want to? Right, I know, but we're going to jump into this. Yeah, let's have a discussion real quick. So now the other one is appoint someone to our public safety naming committee. We have two people. We have John Dudley and we have Alex Keefe. Alex, if you wanted to,
Or would you want to have John go first and then second?
yeah, John, why don't you? Yeah, same thing. I don't think you need to share with us but you know, what made you interested in the naming committee? And if it was to just step up to help, because you
Sure.
haven't done for.
John Dudley, 561 Chestnut. Yeah, excited to do, again, another short-term project where we can help, and I'm involved quite a bit in marketing and sales in the companies that I have. So hoping to lend a hand to whoever's running this and
Okay,
make it good.
great.
So,
Okay, thanks, John.
Thanks.
Yep. Alex?
Hi, good evening. My name's Alex Keefe, live over on Pine Hill Road. I've been a part of the town for roughly 17 years, so I got roped in 2007 to the Fire Explorer program in town with the fire department, and when I aged out, Chief Billy Key at the time said, "You're not going anywhere," and I was appointed as a firefighter from 2010 to 2013. A different perspective, I took a different approach, dropped out of the fire department and went and joined the Ashland Police Department for 7.5 years before I moved on to another police department. But during my time on both the fire and police sides, I took on a mission to make sure that those who have either died in the line of duty or those who have had a huge impact on either department were remembered. So the September 11th memorial for Charlie Caren, that was something that I organized when I was on the police department, as well as pushing for Louis Phipps, who we lost contact with, not knowing that he had died in the line of duty with the police department in the 40s, getting his name with another member on the department on the wall for the fallen police officers. So my whole goal in participating or hoping to participate on such a committee is when we combine the police and fire departments in both respective buildings, they have memorials hanging for the fallen firefighters who died in the cold storage fire, as well as at the police station for Charlie Caren. I would like to see that those names now with the new building can be proposed and looked at for naming parts of the new public safety building. So my mission is not to let anyone who has passed in the line of duty for Ashland to be forgotten, but to be memorialized over at the new public safety building. So that's kind of why I wanted to volunteer and be a part of this.
Great, great. Any comments or
No.
questions, or? I also know that we have, I believe we have a recommendation in front of us already, or a community member has put a request in, which is why we've had to put this in place.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things. But I think from your background and experience, we could possibly expand this a little bit if you want to present to us a couple of ideas, rather than just following up on the one or two that we've had requested.
Of course.
Yeah, okay. Michael?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Alex left off. I mean, he was kind of like the department historian and was really kind of in charge of developing what the new memorial site at the public safety building looked like and put together. So he's definitely some experience with that.
Great.
Sorry.
That's okay. And again, this is one of those committees where we can sort of determine, we have, the minimum is 3, and it includes our police chief and our fire chief, and then members of the community. And I certainly, if we have the opportunity to accept both people that have put their names forward, I think if people are up for that, I would like to, if I can get a motion to appoint both John Dudley and Alex Keefe to the Public Safety Naming Committee.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. Any other discussion? Claudia, any discussion? Do you have to unmute her? Yeah. Okay. Hold on, Jen's working on unmuting you. So what, I know.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, okay, good. So before
Thank you again for, people stepping forward.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Again, we need to do roll call vote. Bennett?
Aye.
Keegan?
Aye.
Vignani?
Aye.
Kinsman?
Aye.
And Greaves, aye. So thank you, Alex. And again, this is one of those committees that has.
Bless you.
Bless
Oh,
you.
excuse me. That's okay. One of those committees that won't have an end date. So I think, like I said, we have a few requests in front of the committee, and then if there's other things that you can recommend, I think
Yeah.
you review it and then bring it back to us for approval, and then we can go from there.
Perfect, sounds like a
So,
plan.
Great.
quick question. Has Alex and John seen, we have a policy that we had put together about the naming, this committee. Have they seen that policy?
I have seen.
You have it,
You
okay.
have.
Yep,
I just
when-
wanted
So
to,
we, we should
Okay.
make sure that John gets a copy of that, and then I would think, send it out to both of them and copy the 2 chiefs, because I would think probably one of the chiefs would lead this, just if necessary, I would recommend one of the chiefs start, lead it, or unless Alex really wants to step up and lead this committee, that's great too. But I think the 4 of you can have a discussion and go from there.
and then my only other question is, do we need to formally appoint the chiefs to this committee? Or are they're named?
I think they're
Okay.
named in the,
Okay, I
they're
just wanted to
named
make
in
sure
the
we didn't
policy.
have to formally
Yeah.
do anything with that.
Well, I think what we can do is double check, and if we need to, we can always do it
Okay.
at our next meeting.
Okay,
But that doesn't stop them from moving forward.
gotcha.
It's actually part of the policy.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Thank you.
You're all set. Thank you so
Appreciate
much
it.
for stepping
Thanks
up.
for
We
stepping
really
up.
appreciate it. And you can, as you pass by John, you can give him the good news.
Okay, I will.
Plus, he'll get an email. Great, okay, so we have the Upper Charles Trail scheduled for 8 o'clock. So we are gonna go on to different things on our agenda until 8 o'clock, so. No, let's start with just old and new business. So the first thing is discuss the Valentine estate. Brandy asked that we put this on to sort of see where things are at, what we want to do moving forward, and I'm going to hand it over to Michael to review.
So, I will say there hasn't been much activity happening there. We did go over there and mow not too long ago, which is a little bit more of an involved endeavor now that we have to deal with the mean and ornery spotted lanternfly.
Okay.
So we have to, do some inspections and things like that. And so Becca has been working with Mass Department of Agricultural Resources on that. Unfortunately, we've had some incidents of vandalism and everything. I think people have noticed where the windows, at least on a house, have had to be boarded up. But other than that, everything has been pretty much secured. We were able to, we had a couple of touch-up things that we needed to do with the barn, including installing the granite steps, which has been completed, and so that's pretty much finished. Moving forward, I think it's something that we should talk about as part of our retreat coming up in August, and what, if anything, we're going to be able to do with that in the short term moving forward, just given the availability of resources. Just as a reminder, one of the things that we did for this year's budget, or the FY25 budget, I should say, which is this year's budget, is when we needed to close the deficit, we took some money that we had earmarked for the Valentine property and used that to help close that budget deficit. So we don't have as much in there as we had before. I think over the course of the next month, especially after we get the bids in for the downtown Phase 2 project. You know, if we have some money left over there, we might have to do some reconfiguration, but there might be some money back into Valentine. We just have to do some maneuvering with that. I have to see if that's possible. But in any case, that's kind of the long and short of where things are right now.
Okay, questions,
Oh,
comments?
I'm sorry. So the conservation restriction, so just so you know, we did have an agreement with HALT, which is the Hopkinton Area Land Trust, to hold that conservation restriction. And if you recall, the board reviewed a draft copy and approved a draft copy that we then sent to the state last July. And they have not even looked at it yet, because they're talking about their shortage of resources as well. So they have one person that is reviewing the conservation restrictions. She was out on maternity leave for a bit, and the last time I checked with her, which is not too long ago, they haven't even really had a chance to look at it yet.
So when she went out on maternity leave, they had no one backfilled to do the work?
Exactly.
Okay. It doesn't, not having the conservation restriction approved by the state does not stop us from moving forward if we need to and want to, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And HALT is still working with us in partnership, so.
Correct.
Okay. What's interesting is I had a conversation with someone who does ADA compliance reviews, and he had driven by the Valentine House and was concerned about seeing the boarded up windows, and he said, what's the plan for that? I said, right now there's still a couple things in play, no final decision has been made, but I said a lot of what we decide to do can be impacted by ADA compliance. So I've mentioned this to Michael, and during our retreat, I think we can have a discussion. Do we want to spend a little money to sort of look at what it would take to make that building ADA compliant? And it depends on what you decide to do with it, because certain things are either state mandates or federal, depending on what we need to do. So that'll be part of our discussion at the retreat, because I think the community certainly wants to see something happen at the Valentine property. Unfortunately, we as a community still have not come together as to what that exactly is. We have ideas floating around, so I foresee another follow-up based on the forum that we had a couple months ago.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys putting it on the agenda, because I think, we had the forum, I think it was like the end of January.
It was a while ago.
It's been a while,
Yep.
so I'm glad that we're, talking about it, because, I don't want the public to think that we've forgotten about it,
Right.
that it's kind of fallen off of our radar. And I think talking about it at the retreat makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know that anything more that we do with the property is going to involve a lot more funding.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to figure out what that,
Looks like.
so.
One thing I forgot is that at the forum, young lady Luba, came up
Yep.
and brought a proposal. And actually, Luba and I met with Courtney, who was running the, for lack of a better term, farm camp for a while.
Mhm.
But I think she's actually working with Pilgrim Day Camp now. I saw. But anyway, we had a good discussion about what that could potentially look like. Some kind of education related event, and Courtney had some good ideas too. But
Okay.
anyway, we did.
Good. Great. So, from a public perspective, it is still on our radar. It's just trying to fit it all in. Good. Okay, next thing on our agenda is just to review the meeting schedule for the remainder of the calendar year. Susan did put in our current meeting dates. Unfortunately, October 2nd is a Jewish holiday. So we have to decide if we want to adjust our schedule in October, or do we feel we can be without that meeting? So we have 2 meetings in September. We have the 4th and the 18th. We then would have done the 2nd, but that's the holiday. We do have then selectmen meetings on the 16th. Somewhere in there will be a special town meeting, probably sometime in November. And I don't know that we have to make a decision today, but we may want to look at do we add an extra one in October? October is a month of 5 weeks. Do we do 2 back-to-back from the 30th to the 6th of November? But the 6th could potentially be a special town meeting. So just be flexible, and if you know you're gonna be away, get that to us as we're looking at things. Any thoughts on actually finding a different date for October 2nd now?
The last week in October makes sense, especially if you have a fall town meeting and we need to key things up on that.
Well, let me ask a question, because a couple things. One, we're gonna need to have a joint meeting with the planning board again to do MBTA communities.
Right.
So we're gonna have that probably September? Are we
Yes.
thinking September?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't, yeah.
So, just kind of like mapping it all out, and
Right,
the-
we may wanna save that date in October for a joint meeting with the planning board, is what you're saying?
yeah,
Okay.
maybe. I do think I think depending on when town meeting falls, do we know when we're gonna have the date for town meeting?
We're just talking about that. I think, maybe the 20th might be a good day. We have to look a little bit.
Of November?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're trying to just fit, so obviously
election.
the election.
So it's
Yeah,
escaping.
so the election, we want to give the town clerk's office a little bit of time to sort of move gears from the election.
Oh, to town
So-
meeting,
To town meeting, and
right.
so I definitely want to I'd love to have a week in between if we can. I just have to see if that,
Okay,
if that.
And-
because
and
the
Thanksgiving's
election's
late.
November 5th, yeah, and Thanksgiving is
so-
the 28th this year. So the 20th could potentially work from a town meeting perspective, which means we wouldn't have a select board meeting, so potentially doing one on October 30th, even though it then is tight week after week, but it would be good leading into town meeting. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're gonna need 2 meetings in October, my guess,
Yeah, the other thing is, we did send out the doodle poll for the joint get-to-know-you meeting with the planning board that people had requested, and I believe almost everyone has responded. If you have not, please do. Right now, the best date so far is Monday, September 23rd. Everyone who has responded that they can do Monday, September 23rd. So hopefully those of you who haven't responded can also do Monday, September 23rd. So please take a look and respond to that. We will be doing a joint meeting with the planning board, or the planning board will be joining our meeting on September 4th to do an update from Goldson, from our consultants from the comprehensive plan. And then to Brandy's point, we're gonna have to do something for MBTA zoning. That'll have to happen probably in September as well at some point. Okay. 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 So, yeah. It's gonna be a fun fall.
Be a busy fall.
Yep, but that's okay.
There might be a get-to-know-you/MBTA communities meeting.
Well, except that we want that to be public.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's all public, but we would want that to be televised, so we'd have to do that up here. And the get-to-know-you is really, I think, that right now it's planned for BC to, get to know each other. So, but we can see. If we have to, we can shift gears and post 2 different things. Okay. Any other questions or comments on our calendar? Okay. Perfect timing, leading into update on comprehensive plan. Who wants to start with that? Brandy? You want to start?
I like how Michael and I look at each other. It's like rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
So we are meeting tomorrow night to do the second of our visioning workshop. Our last meeting was towards the end of June, and we kind of broke up into groups at the community center, and Nikita was there, Mark was there, and we started taking the feedback that the community had given us, and the committee had done some pre-work to basically be able to break out a visioning statement into sections, which is what we worked on in groups, and then each group came up with a visioning statement, which we're going to review, sort of a consolidated version that Goldson's been working on for us, plus working on our goals tomorrow night. So you know, I think that the format of the last meeting was really great, because I think the small groups, I think it was a very effective way to come up with our potential vision statement. So I know that, you know, tomorrow night we're meeting all in person again, 6 to 8 at the community center. I would say that just for anyone from the public that's looking to possibly join us, it is a working session for the committee. So like we are kind of coming up with our goals based on the data that we've received. So
And the pre-homework that we did.
yeah.
And, yep.
So so I'm looking forward to round number 2, and so the plan is that we're going to take the vision statement that we've worked on, we're going to take these goals that we are going to come up with, and we're going to be presenting that back to the public. So there's going to be an engagement period starting mid-August, probably into September, that we're going to get feedback from the community on what the vision and the goals, and there's going to be like a questionnaire on the website, plus the comprehensive plan will be at the farmers market getting some additional feedback from folks too.
What is the date that the comprehensive plan will be at the farmer's market in August? Come on, you should have known I was going to ask.
You're right. You're right. You are 1,000% correct. Let
Is
me.
it like August 4th?
So the problem is there's so many dates for the farmers market going on in my
So
head
it's
right now.
either,
I
it's
think-
not
I
going to
think
be
it's the
August 10th,
17th.
it's the 17th.
August 17th
Yeah.
and September. Hold on.
September 14th? I know it's August 17th.
September 14th. So
Okay.
August 17th, September 14th.
Okay, so if you want to give feedback, once some of this information gets put up on the website, stop by at the farmer's market on either August 14th or September 17th to talk to members of the Comprehensive Plan Committee who are going to be there and give us your feedback.
Yep. And then, like Yolanda said, there's going to be a joint meeting with the planning board on the 4th of September. Goldson will be basically presenting to the groups, and then that's phase 2 of so that's all the engagement information.
Yeah.
So when we talk about like what the findings have been, that's what
And if
we're.
you're not getting the comprehensive plan email, make sure you go to the website and sign up for that. It's always great information, plus giving you information about the members of the committee. Okay. Any other comments or questions about the comprehensive plan process or where we're at? Okay. A few reminders. We have vacancies on various boards and committees. Affordable Housing Trust has 1 vacancy for an associate member. Conservation Committee has a vacancy. Open Space and Recreation Committee has 2 vacancies. The committee has had some people come to their meetings, and hopefully they'll be giving us some recommendations. Stormwater Advisory Committee has a vacancy. Sustainability Committee has a vacancy. And the Town Forest has a vacancy for an associate member. So if you are interested in volunteering for any of those committees, please fill out a talent bank form that's available on the website. You will then be forwarded to the chair of those different committees, and we will be doing our new appointments and reappointments at our second meeting in August, which is Wednesday the 21st. So if you're interested, try to fill out your talent bank form and go to a meeting before that date. Another reminder, free COVID tests available at Town Hall. First Saturday of each month is drop-off recycling at DPW from 9 to noon. So that is waste motor oil thermometers, thermostats, fluorescent light bulbs. So that will be August 2nd, this for the next one. On August 3rd, okay, so it's August 3rd that the next one will be electronic disposal as well. There is a nominal fee to cover that. Registration deadline for the September 3rd, 2024 state primary is 5 p.m. Saturday, August 24th. A reminder, the state primary in-person early voting happening at Town Hall, Saturday the 24th from 8 to 2, Monday the 26th from 8 to 3:30, Tuesday the 27th from 8 to 3:30, Wednesday the 28th from 8 to 7, Thursday the 29th from 8 to 3:30, and then Friday the 30th from 9 to noon. And then, of course, the primary itself is on Tuesday, September 3rd, the day after Labor Day. Vote by mail application postcard. The application is the application deadline is Monday, August 26th. So if you want to get your ballot by mail, that's the date to request it by. If you want to change your political parties, the deadline for that is Saturday, August 24th. Some fun things to think about: summer concerts at Stone Park. July 23rd, Deep River Acoustic Project. July 30th, Father and Son Band. Those are both starting at 7. And then the 3 dates in August start at 6. Gary Burnich Lights Out Blues Band. Mason Tyler Duo on the 13th. And then the last one is August 30th, the Daybreakers. There's a break there. Is there really a break there, or did we just not get it listed?
That's the way it is.
Oh, okay, okay, great, okay. Those are all the reminders. Consent agenda, if I can get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor of the consent agenda as presented?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Claudia? Hold on, we're getting you unmuted.
Aye.
Aye, perfect, thank you. So the consent agenda passes as presented.
Just one quick thing, just
Yep.
as a aside, I know the last meeting, and I don't have the date, from the meeting minutes that we had removed from the consent agenda because we didn't have them before the meeting. Can we make sure that those meeting minutes are on our next agenda?
Next agenda, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
I can give a quick update on Rich.
Okay, but I was gonna say, I think you can, so do that, and then we'll, welcome, hopefully I know the Trails Committee is downstairs meeting, so hopefully they'll be up here soon, but go ahead, Michael, why don't you start in your board, your town manager reports?
Sure. So, so just to let the board know and the community know, Rich Ball, our longtime assessor, has said that he is going to retire at the end of the month. Certainly had a great career in public service and is getting ready for the next chapter in his career. So, many thanks to Rich for everything that he's done. He does some incredible data work, and it is, I don't want to say it's kind of a shame, but it's been interesting. Rich is very low key and very quiet, but over the last year he's kind of come out of his shell a little bit. Maybe he knew he was going to retire.
He was counting down to retirement.
But I recall, like in the Citizens Academy, when we were doing the finance section, he was going to do his presentation, and we're used to Rich's presentation on the tax hearing.
Yep.
So we were kind of expecting something similar, but he it was a very different presentation than what we're used to, and he was having a good time. He had some jokes, and it was pretty good. So thank you, Rich, for everything that you've done. We're currently advertising for that position. We'll just let everybody know, just based on a comparison, we did need to adjust the salary a bit, and unfortunately, so far we've only got 3 applications. So
When did you post?
Last week, or maybe even a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So and hopefully we'll start interviewing soon. So,
Okay.
Anyway, thank you, Rich.
Yeah, thank you. I'll miss his presentation, his annual presentation to us, where we talk about the split tax rate, no split tax rate, and all the details around that. So, so thank you to Rich. Just quick question. So, when Rich retires, if there's a gap, is there someone that's going to be like the point person for?
Yeah, we're working on that. We're figuring that out, whether
Okay.
or not we need to kind of like bring in like a consultant type of figure who could do that. But hopefully, there won't be too much of a gap.
Okay, and the Board of Assessors kind of knows that he's retiring. Okay.
Yeah, because it's not like there's an assistant assessor available. so-
Correct.
Okay. And you'll let us know what you plan on doing to fill that gap if it's necessary. Okay. Great.
Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Wow.
Okay.
Bobby couldn't stay away.
I know, really. This is my first time back,
Well, perfect timing. Before we go into the other town manager reports, we're going to have you guys jump right in. And who's presenting? If you could come to the podium, and hopefully from the select board side, you had the opportunity to review Joel's draft that he sent us. And so we invited the Upper Charles Trail here for two reasons. One, to congratulate them on the grant that they received for the purchase of some land in regards to the trail. And two, for all of you, and especially I think for Claudia and Makita as new, to find out where things are at, what things are, how things are moving forward. And I know from our Trails Committee, they want to have this have happened yesterday. And I think a lot of people who support the trails want that to happen as well. And I'm going to repeat something that I know Joel has heard me say a number of times, that to remind our committee and the public watching, this is a great project. I support it 100%. But if we look to Holliston, it took them 20 years to create their trail, and they had an empty trail bed. So that puts into perspective our 6 to 8 years of work that we've been doing. Has it been 10 now?
I don't know where the presentation
Is it 10?
10. Yep.
Yeah.
We are having
He emailed it in.
Is the presentation on here? I don't know where it is, though.
Has it been 10 years, Marty? Really?
It'll be 10 in December.
10 in December. Is that when we like appointed the committee and then we brought in the consultant and stuff? So. So we're halfway. We're halfway compared to Holliston. So I think we're doing okay. The one thing that we're seeing as a community and just in trails in general is there's a lot of state and federal support to create these trails right now as an alternative for transportation for people to get around in their community, to get from one community to another. And I'm hoping I'm not I don't think I'm stepping on anything from Joel. The really exciting part, and this I've had the opportunity to see as part of the Metro West Regional Collaborative, is there's the North-South Greenway, and it is a multi-use trail that it's going to go from Maine to Florida. And when they were first designing it, it was going to go through more western part of the state, either Springfield or Worcester. Because of the work that this region, with the help of MAPC and David Lutzenheimer from their organization, as well as a bunch of other people, that greenway is now going to be coming through the Upper Charles Trail. So from Framingham, and if we can have Ashland set up that we are a spur that they can do a loop of and come into Ashland for all kinds of fun and exciting things, I think is exciting. I know these things take a long time, and that's why I always bring the 20-year thing up for Holliston. But okay, are you all set, Joel?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, this is an overview. Certainly, if there's any members of the committee that want to jump in, and then before you start, Joel, if you would introduce the members of your committee.
I would be happy to do that.
Okay.
But even before I do that, I want to introduce a special member of our committee.
Okay.
Who is sitting right over there. Rob Shearer just stepped down from the select board. He's been an absolutely invaluable asset to our trail committee, helping make this, with the board's approval, a priority project last year. ARPA funding, which we had tremendous support from Senator Spilka and Representative Lewis. Jack Lewis actually got us a separate allocation of funds that we haven't spent it yet, but we're eager to. And also building and pushing for the creation of an implementation team with Mike Herbert and the planning department and members of our committee. So it's been just invaluable. So thank you, Rob. It's been just invaluable. We also have here with us, most of our members, we have Tony Lewis and David Rosenblum and Marty Ring and Tim Henderson. And then not with us today is Preston Crow and Judy Rosenthal and Doug Costello. They're out of town, and wherever they are. Yolanda has repeated this statement about you need to be patient. I'm not patient. And it takes 20 years to build a trail. It took them that long with really good people in Holliston. I mean, those guys were really top of the top, their team that they had there. 20 years. That was in 1990, though. Today, the state is throwing money at this. The federal government is throwing money at this. There's no excuse anymore. We can do this. And we feel like we're right on the brink of having a trail. Not just part of a trail, but a trail that actually would run from the Sherborne line, we'll get into some maps in a little bit, all the way across through downtown Ashland, all the way to Hopkinton State Park, where we're hoping to tie in with the Hopkinton section of the trail. This trail ultimately will be, the plan is to have roughly a 30 to 35 mile loop, big circle, through 5 towns. Milford and Holliston were the first 2, then Sherborne, Ashland, Hopkinton, and back to Milford. I mean, it was, the people who started this had just an amazing vision. And we came along, we're the Johnny-come-latelys here. What gives us optimism at this point is that we just received a $300,000 grant. You know, that's really a substantial amount of funding to acquire a couple of parcels that we need along the trail route that has been planned. Mike Herbert, I just love that you said this. In the last board meeting, you said, and I quote, "I didn't think we had a snowball's chance in hell." That was an absolutely astute observation. And the reason is because we were asking for a ridiculous amount of money, much more than the average grant. We were asking for land acquisition. Yolanda, was that the Metro West regional group that had the thing at the skating rink?
Yes.
So Yolanda invited our committee to that, and Pete Sutton, who works for MassDOT as a trail planning guy, got up and made a speech that he said you can use these funds also for land acquisition. I had never heard that before. Yep. And we were really up against it, trying to, even with that approval of land acquisition, not easy, because we didn't have basically a signed purchase and sale. We didn't have a price. You know, what are we're giving you this money, but what's the deal here, you know? So anyway, they came through, and we're sitting pretty right now. You know, hopefully we can finalize all the details there. I wanted to highlight just a couple of other quick things before I get to the core presentation here. The Comprehensive Plan Committee, and you guys can speak to this far better than I can, but I saw some statistics that were generated about what do the residents in Ashland want. I can't tell you how often people come up to me. I've been doing this before we even had a committee. And they say, "What's going on?" And residents want more open space, more natural space where they can be in the woods or along lakes or something away from the cars. It's not just Ashland. We're also auto-centric. What do? We build sidewalks. You get to walk down Pond Street. It's great that we have a sidewalk. Certainly safer than what we used to have. It's great. But cars are zooming by. It's not exactly aesthetic, you know, and pleasing to do it. So it's important to have that. But this trail we're trying to make as much as we can. That's the ultimate goal, an off-road trail where you're out there in the woods looking over marshes and reservoirs and going through Ashland State Park eventually, really trying to get away from the auto traffic. And it provides a place for families to meet, to have, teach their kids how to ride a bicycle. It gives them the opportunity to, you know, parents walking kids in a stroller. This is what we see. I mean, I'm on bike paths all over the state all the time. And there's a lot of people out there. And I want to emphasize, this is really an important point. You know, people know what I do. I run a large bike club. This isn't just about bicycling. This is about people who go out and walk. If you can walk or even be pushed in a wheelchair, you can get out into nature and enjoy these trails. I mean, it's really a great thing. So let's get to the document here. What I've done here is I've divided the project into 3 phases, resourcefully referred to as phase 1, 2, and 3. And I have been for a long time very resistant to chop this project up into little. People say, well, just get a little done. Maybe people will like that, and then we'll do a little more next year. And the problem is that that's what we did with the Trolley-Brook Trail. And we didn't do anything the next year, or the next year, or the next year. I don't think that's a good way to do these projects. So what has been designed here is just an unbelievable win-win strategy in how the project is structured. Phase 1 of this project has an off-road trail, and again, we'll look at the maps, but it goes from the Sherborne line over the Dyke Trail that comes over to 126, just south of Market Basket, across 126, and basically up behind the high school, without getting into the ultra details, and all the way down to Chestnut Street. 95%, whatever the percentage is, of that is off-road. Natural scenery, beautiful areas, lots of trees, and no cars. That's what we're shooting for. When we get to Chestnut Street, though, Phase 1 compromises. It says, well, what we can have here is a fully operational trail. Phase 1 doesn't mean doing a little piece. It means doing the whole trail. But it's only an operational trail. And what does that mean? It means that we get to Chestnut Street, and then we continue on the roads. This was part of the original vision for the trail. We go on the roads through downtown Ashland. Some people aren't going to do that. They're not going to want to ride up Chestnut. Some safety markings, you know, whatever, if we can get bike lanes or whatever safety features we can implement, that's already there. The cost is almost nothing. You know, the trail is there because the roads are there. That's Phase 1. Phase 2, whenever we get to it, now we've got a completed trail, and the benefit of that is that we can get on all the state maps. We can say, come to Ashland, here's the Ashland Trail. And why did we route the trail through downtown? Because we felt that this was a way of bringing traffic to our Ashland businesses. The whole Market Basket Plaza, downtown itself, not much beyond that. The train station, possibly. People could commute if they wanted to do it. You can actually just get to the train station on a bicycle. So that's the advantage of having the on-road route. But Phase 2 of the project, which I'm not planning to go into great detail about it tonight, but Phase 2 of the project at Chestnut Street, there would be a branch. So one route would come out of the cemetery or near the cemetery and go to the light by the Shell station and go up Homer Ave through downtown Stone Park, the Trolley-Brook Trail, and onto Memorial Drive. And the other route, the branch part, would go to Ashland State Park. There's a few different options of how we could connect there. And it would go to Ashland State Park, over the dam, and eventually up to Memorial Drive, where it would link up with the Trolley-Brook Trail on Memorial Drive. So this is a much more attractive trail. It's an off-road trail. I mean, it has all kinds of advantages, but let's not start there. Well, those issues, I want to emphasize, all of these phases, it doesn't mean we scurry along on Phase 1 until we're all done, and then we start Phase 2, and then we do that, and then we start Phase 2. We can be talking to DCR about what it would take to implement a trail in the state park right now. We could call them up tomorrow or in a week, you know. So we shouldn't just view this as pushing off to the future when we talk about subsequent phases. But the main target should be getting from Sherborne to Chestnut Street and then on the roads to Hopkinton. Phase 3 is even more vague at this point. We come up from the train station or around Cirrus Apartments or however that's all going to work. I want to emphasize that nobody on our committee is an engineer. We came up with the best planning we could do. We hire an engineering company to do Phase 1, and we say, can I borrow you for a minute? Come on over here. I want you to look at this. What should we do here? We're looking for guidance. I mean, we're not experts on this stuff. We have an opinion. We've looked at it for 10 years. We've gotten pretty good at knowing the pros and cons, but you know, to have professionals looking at this would be a major plus. I mean, again, that's not what we do. We're bike riders and enthusiasts and advocates. Let's see what else I have here.
Except for Tim, he's an aerospace engineer.
Oh, there you go.
He does the things, he does the flyover.
He can launch rockets at the trail users.
Engineering, though, I mean, it's engineering to some, right? Engineering is engineering. Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
you were software though, right? Oh, you did? Well, I was software, that's okay. So, we got 3 engineers. So,
So Joe, why don't you take us through the maps and then let people ask some questions?
that would be
or-
great.
Okay. I
hang
don't want to
on,
throw
let me
you
see.
off what your plan was, but
No.
I
I'm
know,
always
I
glad
know
to
a lot
do
of
that.
people like visuals.
There's one last thing I want to say. Well, I think doing it with the map would even be better. Let's do
Okay,
that.
let's do that.
All right, so I'm scrolling up, except this thing doesn't scroll the way my computer does. There we go. Okay. Somewhere here, there's a map. All right. Come on, you can get there. Who wrote this thing? I'm not used to this computer. Ah, here we go.
There we
Boy,
go.
this is tough, though. All right, I'm sorry, I don't know if, is there a way to turn this sideways?
Try to right click.
Right click didn't do it.
Yeah, that,
Oh, this spin around,
This should be a rotate.
No, not that one.
oh, okay.
It should be.
No, that's share. How do I get rid of that? What a mess. Okay,
That's okay. Why don't you, just try to
Okay.
talk us through best you can, I think.
okay.
I would scroll up just a little so that the red circle is more in the middle of the screen.
Well, I just wanted to show where it begins at the Sherborne line.
Oh,
So-
okay, that's fine.
So, in Sherborne, over the line into Sherborne, this is not Ashland, all right? And I'm not gonna go into a whole lot of detail about this right now. There's the CSX train tracks in Sherborne, okay? Once we hit the Ashland town line, which is right here, see that horizontal line going across? That's the Dyke Trail. It comes over here all the way to 126, the red dots, all right? Which brings us to the next topic here as we scroll up and look at this. There are several parcels that are in various states of town control. 2 of the parcels that happen right here at 126 are called the Enzo parcels. And for the most part, the owner of the parcels is very aware that the town is interested in this. For the most part, I really don't want to get into land and owner
That's fine.
discussions here.
I think more just the route and.
But some of the stuff is known to the people already, so I thought that was okay. So it would go across, it would cross 126. MassDOT has graciously installed or is about to install a crosswalk there. And a lot more work needs to be done. Like, for example, if you cross 126 in the crosswalk, now you're on the other side, there's a guardrail there. Unless you're a good jumper, you're not, you're gonna be in the marsh anyway,
We'll
I've-
work with them on that, Joel, don't worry.
Well,
But
I
right
alre-
now, it's good to have the guardrail there.
Exactly, so I've been working with the MassDOT official in charge of all this, and it's just a permitting process. He's
Yeah.
very supportive of
Yeah.
doing this. The next property is called, I don't think it's labeled here, the Sudbury Valley Trustees parcel.
Yep.
Well, that is, but what they call it is not. They actually call that, for some reason, the Rocco parcel, R-O-C-C-O. I've met with their land acquisition director, and he did more than I could ever have done. I mean, he's an engineer. He was able to map out how this trail would work coming from 126 and going west. We will need his estimate. I mean, this is subject to engineering review.
Yep.
But we will need a couple of things to make this Sudbury Valley Trustees parcel work. One is that we're going to need them to approve it. So we're looking to have, one of our action items is to have the town meet with the director of SVT to get an approval. I think that's like almost a done deal, but we still need to have a formal meeting.
Formalize it, yep.
This guy that I met with there, he walked the trail with me, said that he thinks we're gonna need about 240 feet long boardwalk coming off of 126. It's all marsh when it starts off. The good news is, after 240 feet, it appears that we're on solid ground the rest of the way, except there'll be one other little section of a much shorter, I think it's 65-foot boardwalk. Anyway, all of that, without getting into painstaking details, gets us up to Mulhall Drive. There's a little kind of I guess we call it a paper road, or a little road stub that never was used, that connects up to Mulhall Drive. And that comes out to Cedar Street. From Cedar Street, we want to turn, I guess it's southbound on Cedar Street toward the fire station, and then turn up the power lines, like actually go up the power lines. And that brings us all the way to the back of Ashland High School. We've met with the school committee and a bunch of their key people, and they are very supportive of this, as long as we make sure it's safe for the kids. And we have, they like what we're doing. From there, we would come basically in between the high school, where there's some of the fields up there, and the cemetery. We go across the very top of the fields or the edge of the cemetery, however it would work. And that gets us over to what we used to call, I don't know what the name of it is anymore, but we used to call it the Fafford parcel. Now we call it the Ashland parcel. I like that. So the town, for people who don't know, the town has recently acquired that land.
Yep.
And there's one more piece that we think we'll need, and that is owned by DCR. So if you go all the way across the Fafford parcel, heading toward Chestnut Street, there's a little tiny undeveloped piece of land there that DCR owns. And
I think before.
I'm not sure where that is, Joe.
So it's before the bridge?
It's before the bridge that's behind the water pumping station. Are we in the right?
That's right, yeah.
Yes. So I have been working with a guy at DCR who's been very supportive, but they have a formal process that we have to go through. So I have paperwork to do that I have to submit to them. Map 2, okay. Okay. Do you know which button it is? I don't mouse around.
Did you put your mouse like up here or something?
Ah, there it was. There. Oh, look at that. Try that. Look at that.
Maybe there's a sound engineer.
This is, he's not as sound as you would think. Sorry. So what this is showing here, we've kind of covered this a little bit, but this shows coming off of Mulhall Drive, going up the power lines along here on this Eversource right-of-way area here. Ashland actually owns the upper part of the land from Grover Road up to the high school. Come through the back of the high school, around the top of the cemetery or the top of the ball fields, whatever we can work out with the town as what do the residents want us to do there. Across the Fafford land, across the DCR parcel, and then down the very extreme northwest side, mostly off the road in the cemetery. This is not near any current grave sites. These are really old graves that are up in there. But we can work with the town on finding a way to get down to Chestnut Street. We'll either work our way over to the cemetery exit, or maybe we need to cut through the fence and have an access through there by the pumping station. You know, we're open, you know, let's hear from you and see what you think is the best way to do it. Okay, and that is, all right, so this last piece just shows the on-road part. So we'd get to Chestnut Street near the cemetery. We'd go across the light by the Shell station, cross 135, up Homer Ave to downtown, cross Main Street, Summer Street, Park Road past Stone Park, a right on Cherry, left on Magunko, and then we would take the Trolley Brook Trail. This is an existing trail. If if people at home are watching this and they've never been on the Trolley Brook Trail, it's really it's beautiful.
It's a pretty trail.
And that brings you over to the MBTA access road, and that is what we're envisioning as phase one. Well, that's not quite true, is it? Let's go to the last map here, if I can figure out how Marty did that. Oh, there we go.
Do 2 more flips so it's not upside down.
You don't like it like that?
Call me
Okay,
crazy.
there
but
we go.
There we go.
All right. So, oh, excuse me. All right, so this gets us to the MBTA road and the Trolley Brook Trail. And right now, it's a bit of an issue. What we do is we go, there's a part of the Upper Charles Trail in Ashland exists already. It runs all the way the length of Memorial Drive, all the way to the train station. Most people probably think of it as a sidewalk, but it's a really good sidewalk. It's 10.5 feet wide for almost its entire length, and it brings you all the way down to the train station. Ashland Bike Club uses that. I mean, it's a perfectly good bike path. There's a bit of an issue, and I know Rob indicated he's on the MBTA committee or something? Advisory board. So I'm looking to have you give them some advice. What we're hoping to do as part of this phase to get to Hopkinton is to cut through the train station. Again, this isn't my favorite trail. Cut through the train station, go up to High Street, up that little back exit ramp, up High Street to Whittemore, over toward the back of Hopkinton State Park off Howe Street. So the problem there is that it's going to require a conversation with them. I don't think that they necessarily view that exit as an operational exit. So we need to sit down and say, look, humor us here for a couple of years while we build the rest of this thing and see what we can work out. We'll see what we can do. Anyway, that basically is it. It gets you all the way over to Howe Street and the back entrance. There's a couple of different places to go into Hopkinton State Park. One is right at the corner of Cross and Howe, and the other one is a little bit farther up Howe Street. Emergency gate, right. So we'll work that out. Just as a complete aside here, and I mean, I find this like a really interesting thing. I watch a lot of videos of people doing these national trails. Not just biking, they're hiking and biking, all kinds of stuff. And one of the things that you quickly learn is that, especially long-distance bike riders, where do they stay at night? You don't just ride up and put your bike up on the front porch of the Hotel Ashland. We ain't got one. So, I was thinking, wouldn't it be unbelievable allure to have them take this branch of the route, because there are other branches that go to Holliston. If we could get them to agree to having a small number, you're not turning it into a campground with 100 tent sites. You might need 5 tent sites, something like that, where people would have a place to stay. And my argument that I would like us as a town to present to DCR is that state parks all over Massachusetts provide camping, but not in Metro West. I'm not aware of any. Maybe somebody is, but I'm sure not. They just don't do it. And I don't know why that is, but if we have reason to say there would be a benefit to it now that we are building these trails, maybe it's time to rethink that. And I don't know, there's obvious costs and administrative issues and all kinds of things. So that is pretty much phase one. And now that I left it to the end, these guys said, make it the first item. We kind of would like to talk about 2 things. Yolanda approached me. We had a meeting on Friday last week, and she said that she was hoping Rob could be the liaison to the board. So we want to talk about that for a second. And nobody wanted him, but I insisted, so this went pretty well. And the other thing that we really just need to do, we are so close on this project, right? We have a designed trail with a couple of key missing pieces that are going really well that we can get in the near term. We could engineer the whole off-road part from the Sherborne line to Chestnut Street and have a completed trail, like magic. And there's all kinds of reasons I'm not going to go into, but getting a completed trail is like gold. There's a lot of maps that we can get on. There's a lot of organizations that you publish with. And if you want to attract recreational users to your community and stimulate your businesses, this is how you do it. What we're asking for is that we would really like, we have 2 teams. We have our committee and we have an implementation team. And we really would love to have a formal scheduling document for the implementation team where we say, here are the activities, assuming we agree to all of them. You know, let's see what they are and go over that. And then here's who needs to do this. Some of the things we talked about in our committee, we may be able to take on, or at least get the ball rolling on. You know, we don't always need Michael or town staff to get involved up front. Or maybe we want them to at least have some input to it up front, depending on what the situation is. But I think it's really important to not just say, yep, this is great, let's do this. Because there's no deliverable, there's no deadline, it just becomes a very vague process. So what we're hoping for is to build a project plan, and we're going to try to put a more detailed project plan together. And then, you know, whether it's Michael and Jan or however that would work, try to get a buy-in to it. You know, estimate how long different tasks will take. We have no idea. I mean, you know, we're going to an engineering company and saying, could you do all this neat stuff on this part of the trail? Is that going to take them 2 years or 3 months? Does it cost $5 million or $1 million? We don't know. I mean, we just don't know. So we're looking for help on stuff like that, where if we can get a little more structured and scheduled as a process to run it as a real project, that would be very, very helpful. Rob, did you have anything you wanted to say about the liaison thing before I make fun of you some more?
Hello, everybody. Good to be back here again, because it's temporary, so that's part of the... so, Joel, I don't know if
you got 10 years, Rob. So.
Yes, yeah, until complete. That's better than until completion, which was the previous one. Did you? But you're going to come talk more about next steps, right? Well, all right. We'll see what the board wants. We'll see what the board wants to do. So, on the, you guys, we had talked about me continuing as the liaison to the select board from the Upper Charles Trail. So we discussed it earlier, and people. They kind of like me and think I'm okay, you know, but they actually were thinking they would prefer a serving member of the select board to be the liaison, which is not surprising, I think. So I'm happy to try to do that role, continue that, which is kind of be an advocate for both sides, which has its own kind of challenges. But I think the first preference of the committee, if there's someone on the select board who's willing to kind of commit to do that, would be their preference. So I'm not saying people need to decide that right now, think about it, and if there's someone who wants to step up and become that kind of closely involved, I think that's their preference, and otherwise I'm happy to try to continue to do that. So I think that's pretty much the gist of it, right? So I received a vote of no confidence, so, you know, but, or little confidence, or some confidence, but all right.
Well, there's certainly a benefit, right,
Yeah.
to having someone an acting current board member as the liaison,
Sure.
so.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd be happy to open this up. I don't know where it is I'm having all kinds of trouble with this document, but somewhere here there's action items. Is it above
So
this?
before you
Yeah,
go to
ahead.
that, any questions
Good.
on what we've seen so far from the board? I mean, do you feel, and I'm going to say to Claudia and Makita, do you feel like you're sort of up to speed on the, you know, where the trail is at and where they're looking to go? Okay.
I would also really, I would love to meet with Makita and Claudia anytime to walk parts of the trail maybe you haven't seen, or you just want to come out with us and get our perspective of what's real in the field. And we would be more than happy to. We always love it when people come and visit us, you know. It's great. Okay, so I was, if
I
you
have
have questions,
questions.
I would be happy to.
Let's
address
do
it.
I've got a
questions.
couple-
Go ahead.
I've got a couple questions just about what you presented.
Great,
First, you were talking about going through the power lines.
yes.
What does that process look like? Because, you know, I assume over by the high school, I have power lines behind my house, and
Right.
it's all, you know, Eversource.
Yeah, right.
And vegetation, and they
Yep.
maintain it and all that stuff. So are we looking, I assume we'd be looking to do like a paved trail through that?
Probably. That's again, subject to engineering.
Yeah.
Reports,
So
but yes.
I'm just curious, like, what have you heard from other, like,
Well, let me give
trails
you a
that have
really
done
good
something like
answer.
that?
The last Ashland Bike Club ride was on this past Sunday, and the first, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles of the ride was on something called the Mass Central Rail Trail. And the Mass Central Rail Trail is envisioned to run from somewhere east of 128-95, like maybe Waltham or beyond, all the way out to Northampton and maybe to Albany and maybe to the West Coast.
Okay.
And when we did the first 3 or 4 miles of that, because we get off these trails and ride on the roads quite a bit, it was under power lines. They were
Okay.
right, the trail was here and the power lines were here.
Okay.
So,
Paved, the trail was paved there?
paved trail, beautiful.
And it was Eversource or some other power company's property?
The guy who really put that, was really the energy behind getting that to happen was a guy named Sarkey, who's the city planner for the town,
For
city of
Framingham, yeah.
Framingham. So we can find that out. Sarkeesian.
So he used to be in Wayland.
Yeah, this
and
is in
he-
Wayland.
He helped with, and now he's in Framingham, and he is very actively working to work on the sections, so they have the Chris Walsh Trail, and then also the connection from the Chris Walsh Trail south into Sherborne, Holliston, and connecting with Ashland. But yeah, Sarkey's, and he's very active.
So all of that is to be discussed, to be
Okay.
negotiated. Are there legal constraints? What does their easement look like?
Yeah, but you've seen it before, so that's kind of like one of the things
It
that I'm.
exists.
Okay, because I
Yeah,
was curious
I
about
don't
that.
think there's any section of our trail that you can't find it having been done in another community. So with power lines, through wetlands, through backyards, through cemeteries, I mean, you go somewhere either in our state or another state and you'll see it has been done.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
One other question, I know you were talking about the MBTA and using the emergency exit
Yes.
out of there, and I know we've had a lot of people come to us about safety concerns,
Yep.
about cars coming in and out of there because the visibility's kind of hard, so
Yep.
I think that's something that, as far as a safety issue, that I can envision like bikes coming out of there and not having cars have the visibility into it,
So it sounds like, I hadn't really thought that through until Joel mentioned it today, but certainly something I could start bringing up with the MBTA people and see what kind of issues they raise. But that's a good, yeah, any kind of entrance from that half-baked gate would have to be, well signalized or on that stretch, certainly.
Okay.
So, one of the things I read in some of the early comprehensive planning documents talked about people up, I guess, up in that neighborhood, way up High Street and beyond, Cross Street up that way, wanting to be able to bicycle and leave their bikes at the train. Well, you can do that, but it's not always convenient depending on how you go. I couldn't agree more that I think that's a very dangerous egress there. You'll never hear from me to get a trail built sacrificing safety. We would never do
Right.
that.
Right.
It, just as a complete aside, but it was so horrible what happened. I couldn't believe this. I came to, and I think it was a select board meeting, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago or something, and they had the MBTA people in here, and I said, bikes, you may not want bikes, but they are using it. That's the reality, and it would be great if you could make it a little safer. I said, if you're gonna keep that gate there partway up the road, it's on a steep uphill there, right? If you could make kind of like a radius so we could go around the gate on a bicycle, cars couldn't do it, And they did. They were really accommodating. I mean, it was like a year later they actually did it. I was so pleased until I saw it. And what they did was, if you could imagine the whole radius is about like 2 feet around the pole. I mean, there's no way, even if you walk your bike, you're up on the curb. It's just terrible, So, but I think that's a very important and valid point. There may be ways of looking at the intersection to do something safer than it is. It's also at a curve in the road. I mean, I really don't like that. But, I mean, the other thing, without going off on this, but it's, Ashland, Yolanda always highlights that we don't have a rail bed here in Ashland. And what this means is oftentimes the property, the land that remains is wetlands and ledge. It's stuff that builders knew enough to stay away from, and now there's nothing left, and they're trying to make it work. But the stuff we're stuck with is sometimes not so good, And we're just trying to find a way through as long as it's safe. That really has to be the bottom line.
And then I have one other question, and I don't know if you're going to cover it kind of after the fact, but we talked about, funding available on a state and federal level. And as far as phase 1, are you thinking, because I know you're talking about like engineering, so there's like the engineering component.
Right.
And then from a funding standpoint, we would apply for funding for the entire phase 1, or?
Here's how I'm envisioning it. I mean, this is all to be discussed. I mean,
Right.
Our implementation team really needs to know the details here and see how this can work. If we can, and we think we have sufficient funding, we don't know for sure, but we have quite a chunk to engineer all of the off-road stuff. And maybe even the on-road stuff is just some safety signage and bike lanes or whatever. That doesn't cost anything. After that, Michael and I have talked about maybe getting on the tip. You guys probably all know, but just to explain it, this is a public process where I think you have to be at the 25% design with your engineering. So we would hope the engineers would bring us to that point, handle all the permitting, and then we say, we're ready, put us in. And that could take any place from 300 to 500 years of getting funding. I mean, you just don't know.
Now you're exaggerating, Joel.
That's right. It'll take 20 years.
Sort of, yeah.
So maybe we'll do that. Maybe there will be other sources of funding that we can explore.
Okay.
Let's see how it goes. But again, the whole focus that we have right now is we think we're knocking on the door to make a big thing happen. Literally a completed crosstown trail. We can do it. And if we just schedule these things and hire the companies to do it, we can make it happen. So that's what we're hoping for.
And then the other part, and I don't know if you're going to go over this, Joel, is that there is then a complete off-roads path as well that would take you around different parcels through DCR. I mean, and there's people who are interested, but it's a matter of just doing the work to get us there. And as Joel said, now that as of last year we've made this a priority project, I think when we have our retreat in August, we can talk a little bit more about what that means and how we can move this project. What does it mean to move this project forward, working with the committee and staff and things like that.
I have a question.
Yep.
All right. The new kid.
The new kid, yeah. So I think in the document, it mentions rewriting the BCT.
Great question.
And so I noticed that the AMC is involved in, overseeing the BCT. Right. I'm not exactly sure what that means, and I don't know what the implications are for our trail. So if you could explain that relationship a little bit.
And start with explaining the acronyms.
She was planted in the audience to ask me that.
I
can't thank you enough. So here's the deal. There's something, I know you guys know this, but there's something called the Bay Circuit Trail. It's unbelievable what Massachusetts did.
Yep.
It's a trail that starts north of Boston, and it comes way out west here, and then goes back like in a U shape south of Boston. How long is it? Over 230 miles long. It's a great hike. It's unbelievable. Tony, have you done the whole thing? Tony and his wife did the whole thing. Unbelievable, So some years ago, I can't remember the exact time frame, maybe 5, 7, 8 years ago, maybe more even, the train track people in Sherborne said, we don't want you. We don't want you people coming across our train tracks. There's risk of vandalism there. People could get hurt, liability. Get out. You cannot advertise the Bay Circuit Trail coming across our railroad tracks anymore. Get rid of it. Well, the Bay Circuit Trail used to have all kinds of issues with private property. They had issues. And it used to come out of the back of Market Basket and then to go south down to the Dyke Trail. That's about 660 feet from Market Basket south toward Shaw's to the Dyke Trail, and then you turn east on the Dyke Trail. All right? You had to walk in the street. Crazy. On 126. I mean, it was insane. So we included in the grant, we really leaned on this heavily. We don't have the train tracks yet, but we're making some progress, we think. We're working with state agencies and stuff to try to get an accommodation of being able to use the train tracks to put a trail. They call this rail with trail. They're side by side. Well, you don't just want to do that. You want to put up a big high fence in between the two. I mean, safety has got to be numero uno, and vandalism too. So in the grant that we wrote, that we just received, we talked about that this could be a major benefit, where now, instead of coming through Market Basket and going down 126, which now should have a sidewalk, which is a plus.
Right.
You could be in the woods on beautiful Sudbury Valley trustees land, really nice. This is a major upgrade to, I mean, they're looking for as much nature as they can get. So that's the status of it. You know, our comment about the AMC, this was just kind of like a little tickler note to myself. Like, we really should contact them and let them know we're working on this. It's not anything we have any control over. I mean, they can route the trail however they want.
Okay.
But what we're doing is we'd like to encourage them to improve the Ashland section of the trail by taking advantage, if we're able to make progress here, of what we're doing. You know, that our trail could become a major plus for their trail. One other thing, I just want to point this out, you know, people, just to put some scope on this. Today I looked up, I had no idea. I mean, I couldn't have guessed within a million. How many people use the Appalachian Mountain Trail, what's it called? The Appalachian Trail, the AT they call it, right?
Yep.
How many people a year do they get hiking on that? Not all the way through. It goes Maine to Georgia.
Yeah, most people just do section hikes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How many people a year do they get? Over 3 million.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So we're not talking about like 50,000 nutty long distance hikers. We're talking about a lot of people here. There's another trail that goes from Washington, D.C. out to Pittsburgh, and they get about 1.6 million trail users a year. There's another one, last one I'll say, is the Erie Canal Trail. It gets 1.6 million users a year. So, you know, we're not envisioning that you're going to have 1.6 million bicyclists riding across Pond Street. But we could, if we do it right, and we have the right vision to try to attract a commercial thing. You know, I used to serve with Yolanda on the Comprehensive Planning Committee. And we always talk about, you know, what's happened to Ashland and what's happened to all the suburban towns. Everybody moved their little shops, the bookstores and the dress shops and whatever it was. They all went to Route 9 because that's where the bucks are. And they all, and you know, we end up with not particularly job-oriented or profitable businesses to help with tax revenue. So this could really be a thing, you know, if we do it right. We've got to have the right vision.
Yeah. Go ahead, Claudia.
No, I was just going to ask a couple of quick questions, I think.
Go ahead.
How many miles would you say there are that are off trail, so they're on the road?
Well, now you got me. I meant to look that up today. I'm going to guess. I think it's just about 0.6 of a mile for the Dyke Trail. The rest of it over to Chestnut Street, I think, is maybe 1.5 miles to 2 miles. So I'd say 3.5.
Okay. And then how many miles of?
On road, and
yeah,
probably another 5 or so, something like that. And some of that's Trolley Brook and Memorial Drive.
Right. And is the would the idea be to put like stone dust and or pave them in some places? Or just to clear it and make a path?
If you go ask a million road cyclists like me, all but one guy, I can send you a picture of him, all but one guy will say they want asphalt. They don't like the stone dust. That's what Holliston did. However, we met maybe roughly 4 or 5 years ago with DCR, because we're talking about running over the dam there and through their trails. And I was absolutely, I mean, sometimes you just know. And I was sure they were going to go for a natural surface. And they said, if you want to have a trail in our park, it's got to be asphalt. I couldn't believe it. So, you know, go figure. I don't know, like you know, what is the thinking? You know, there's all kinds of issues that come in with maintenance and safety and you know, noise if you're going right by a bunch of houses.
Yeah, right.
But all of that, the one thing you don't want to do is have a mishmash. You don't want to go 1/8 of a mile with gravel and then 1/8 of a mile paved, then 1/8. You're constant, because at that ridge, it's just not a good thing.
Right.
You know, so you pick one and you go with it for long stretches, even if you have both.
I think you'll attract different riders, right? You have people
Yeah.
who will do the Milford portion of the trail because
Yeah.
it's paved,
Right.
but then once they hit Holliston, they turn back around.
Yeah.
Because it's not as comfortable to drive, or, you know, or their bike is not appropriate, or they, you know,
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those things.
Right.
I also think, and I could be wrong, that I think a lot of the funding and engineering is they're going toward paved routes, because it's more durable, and it allows, I think, for more commuting, right? And that's what they're trying to push as well.
Can I just?
Oh, sure.
Sure.
I do want to add just one thing. Joel talked earlier about the challenges we have in Ashland. So, you know, sometimes we may not be finding a good width, you know, the DOT type of width. We may have to look at kind of in between alternatives, like a nice gravel path that's maybe not as wide as we would like. I mean, we do have some unique challenges. I think the key is flexibility and adaptability, depending on where we are and what we're trying to do. So I just wanted to, and that's a discussion we have at the committee a lot. So I wanted to add that.
Any other questions or comments for Joel? Joel, oh, go ahead, Michael.
Can you give your name and home address, please?
Sure, Joel. Joel, so great presentation. I just I want to thank, you know, Joel and the committee, and you know, Joel especially with this grant. You know, I think similar to what I was talking about with the cemetery group. I mean, a lot of that grant was staff had very little to do with it. So, and I didn't think we had a chance, not because, you know, Joel was working on it, just because of the No, seriously, just because of the circumstances. No, but Joel was in contact with Amanda. You know, writing a grant takes a lot.
It was unbelievable.
Joel was in contact with Amanda Lewis over at Mass Trails quite a bit. I just want to say, I know sometimes it might seem like I'm resistant to this, and really it's just a matter, we've just got so many things going on. Like we were making, I think, had a good rhythm, I think, with the implementation team, and then we got a couple 40Bs, you know, that came away. But I will tell you, like, it is one of my goals, like personal goals.
I love it.
To, you know, before I leave here or leave Earth, to get this done, help get this done for you guys.
Full completion.
Yeah, it really is, because I think, you know, this checks off so many boxes in so many ways. I mean, we've heard from the comprehensive plan committee, or the community, I should say, how they look for more connectivity. You know, like you said, more open space. And a lot of people think about this trail as like a bike trail, but no, it's a multimodal path. Like people can walk on it. Yeah, and anyway, I just wanted to add my comments.
Well,
I've been uncharacteristically quiet tonight.
So just to wrap this up, from my point of view, I think we have, and we have not. We've been nowhere. I mean, we're just hoping that this will get moving, and we had our little trolley brook 3 years ago, and that's nice. But now we really feel like we're sitting right on the brink of this can really happen, and it can happen quickly. I mean, it may take a certain amount of time with the labor involved, but we're really right there. I mean, we have the funding, we have almost complete root control, And I think the only thing standing in our way at this point is the willpower to make it happen. I don't want to go down the list at all, but the hot items here, the first thing I think, and I'll leave number 1 off on this action item list, but it would be great if we could get at least one, for a starting point, engineering estimate from Green Engineering or whoever it would be. All right, so that's one thing we're hoping for. It would be great if we could have a contact. It might be literally a 5-minute phone call with Sudbury Valley trustees. That really moves, that leaves open pieces. It closes them. I think those are the key things. If we could get that stuff moving and work on more project team coordination, that would be great. So thank you.
Well,
Joel Enzo, right?
Yeah, I said I wasn't going to address that because I know that's
yeah,
in
I think
process.
we're looking at. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I like Michael, support this project, and I feel that I can support it in Ashland. I can support it regionally. I think when we have our retreat at the beginning of August, I think we'll then be able to decide who of our board will become your liaison, and also help keep this moving forward. And I agree. I think we're right at that point where we have this grant funding, we have support regionally to help move this forward, and and as other things move off, Michael and I have had this conversation as well. So I don't think we can give you a response tonight, but know that, similar to Michael, this is a project that I won't say that I'll be continuing to sit here until it's done, but it's certainly a project that while I'm on the board, I will help move forward.
Well, we appreciate that very much.
So, anyway.
Yeah, sure, jump in.
Do you want to come up? Do you want to say it to the?
Anybody. So, yeah, I just want to say that I think I speak for everyone. I appreciate the support that the board has continued to show, and the town manager and his staff. And you guys know me, so if any of you want to reach out for any details or questions or concerns, I'd be happy to answer it. But
great.
Thanks. It was great seeing you all. You're okay without me?
I
Everybody's all
think
right?
we're okay. We've had a decent swap, but we'll be okay. And if we need you, we know where you are.
I want to thank Joel for the job he did.
Definitely, for the grant.
In January, not only was he working on the grant, he was working on this. He was doing all kinds of hats he was wearing.
Yeah.
He really did excellent.
Good. Thank you.
And on the implementation team, it would be nice if we could set up a regular meeting, like a schedule, so we can do it.
Definitely.
And
I
that's
see
it.
that
But
happening
thank you
as
for
well.
your time, and anybody who wants to walk on the trail, my wife and I'll show you the trail too. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
all. Again, thank you, Joel, for the presentation and for your work on the grant. Thank you to the rest of you for your work on the trail. Please hang in there. Please keep your enthusiasm going, and we will get back to you after our retreat in August to let you know other things moving forward.
Yeah. Thank you very
Great.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
What's really nice too is they're all really likable guys.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of a bonus, right?
Depends on which time of day they're calling you,
it's,
so, or how many times they call
The weather has changed, so it's flattened out.
Yeah,
I think it has
the
some,
weather, right?
it has some humidity going on right now, so it has flattened out some. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you all.
Admit it, you like her better.
I think somebody misses us.
I think so. I think so. Great. Okay, we're going to move on in our agenda. Just continuing with the town manager's report, priority project update. You don't have to talk about the trail because I think we just covered it.
Clearly. Let's see. Well, I won't pull up the spreadsheet, but so anyway, I'll just start with the downtown project. And so I think I've told you that we were going to get bids in. Excuse me. That we were going to get bids in for phase 2 on Friday. I was mistaken. It's actually the next Friday. So we had to make some adjustments based on the pre-bidders conference. We didn't have as much interest as we thought. So we did that. And so I did get an email from Eversource. I did tell you that through Caren's help, so we got some transformers shipped, and I did get confirmation from Eversource that we were in line to get those when
They
they
shipped,
come in.
right?
So, I'm sorry?
They shipped and they're coming by rowboat?
Yeah, we'll see when they get here. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's moving forward. We had a Mendez project team yesterday. I don't think there's too much of an update there that I need to give. We did talk about the Upper Charles Trail. We've talked about Valentine. So there was a Warren Barn meeting tonight, or earlier today. I unfortunately wasn't able to make it, but both Claudia and Jen represented the town, and got some good updates, I believe, and I think we'll talk about that later and just kind of see what that looks like. So I don't have my spreadsheet in front of me.
It's okay.
So there's that. Just Eversource gas update. Now, that is not, I don't want to hearken or raise any specters of the big gas project that we were talking about, bless you. But they are looking at doing a couple smaller projects, one on Chestnut Street, and then one on Fruit Street leading to Elliott Street. The Fruit Street project they are probably going to look at doing next year. Chestnut Street they'll look at doing this year. And so this project is to basically correct a lot of the leaks that are happening.
Oh, good.
They also have some redundancy issues that they're trying to take care of. And so I've asked Eversource for more data about that, like the number of leaks that they would correct and everything, so I can get that to you. And then also look at like a traffic management plan, what that would look like, especially starting with Chestnut Street. But just wanted to give you an update on that. As part of the one on Fruit Street, which again is probably not going to happen until next year, we're looking at encouraging them, let's put it that way, to do some more heavy paving as part of the repair of that project, as opposed to just doing the trench and everything.
Can we encourage them to do it during the summer next year, so it's not impacting the school?
To the extent that we can.
Okay, let's highly encourage that, because to have construction of any kind on Fruit Street during the school year would be, I mean, traffic around there is bad enough.
This year already.
Yeah.
Well, the kids were walking to school and they had dug out some of the sidewalk.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. And so I had two more things, one on the agenda and just one aside from the agenda.
Yep.
Actually, a couple more. I apologize for that. So update on town hall repair. So we've completed doing the assessment of the building and used that to put together a spec and scope to go out to bid for this work. It's pretty comprehensive and pretty detailed in terms of things that need to be replaced and repaired, like sills. I mean, we're looking at doing a pretty comprehensive repair job for the exterior of the building in preparation for painting. And so I think the estimate was around $250 to do that work. We'll know more once we put it out to bid and see what that comes in. But I will forward you those specs so you can see the work that's going to be done. It is in fine print, Joe, so you should be able to read it.
So that 250 roughly, that's the carpentry work and the painting itself?
Not the painting, just the carpentry work. So I will say we are looking, so we'll be using like wood clapboard and everything, like historical related materials. One thing we are looking at doing is using like a PVC for like a fascia board that's going to be hidden behind a gutter, just because that just rots consistently and you won't really be able to see it.
Okay.
So look at doing that. I mean, we've discovered all kinds of stuff. I mean, holes where birds are coming in, birds and sparrows specifically, apparently.
Woodpeckers?
Yeah.
Making
No
holes?
wood, I don't think. Mostly sparrows. So that's
okay.
So that's moving along. Again, another project that we'll get to talk about. And then finally, just to let you know, Makita and I recorded another podcast last week, and so I think Paul has got that ready, and that's going up. It was a great discussion, and it was fun. We got into a little outside of town stuff, started talking music and everything. So
thanks for having me on, Michael. It was a great experience, a lot of fun, and I think it's up now. I've seen it on published to So, yeah, had a good time just talking about the town, select board, why I ran, how I hope to serve the community, and how I hope to get out and meet some more folks.
Yeah. So,
Great.
Yeah.
So in future episodes, I'm looking forward to having each of you on there. And Joe, I know we've had you on the first one, and yeah, so I think it'll be good.
Good, good.
Yeah, but I kind of like this, talking mostly about town stuff, but then kind of venturing off into some of the other stuff that's that helps share who you are as people. So
That's
anyway,
great.
yeah.
Sounds good. Okay.
That's it.
Anything else? No? Okay. We will go to board reports. Claudia, you're at the end, so you get to start.
So I'm waiting with
Bated breath?
anticipation.
Oh, so I'd like to announce that the 11U Ashland baseball team is the championship of the Torndorf tournament.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Yes,
guys.
they are the champions, so.
That's awesome.
It was an exciting game. They've had quite a season. They only lost one game, and they are repeating this year. They won last year as 10 unders and lost in the finals as 9 U's. So,
for them.
and the really nice part is that they are really a really nice group of boys, and the coaches are great, and the values, and it really is. Kind of what sports is really all about, learning and to be together and being respectful. And they're just, working hard, all those things. So, so congratulations to them. I was going to change my picture during, when I was on Zoom. I said I should change and just show them, but in any case. So thank you for letting me step away for a little bit. Last night we had a school building committee meeting, a Minda school building committee meeting. Next month I did ask that we put on the agenda. I had noticed that there were no roofs on the dugout over there, and that seems like a very just something that slipped by during perhaps when we were doing some value engineering when the bids came back so high, and we got rid of the package that we had purchased for
Designed
dugouts,
in, yeah.
knowing that we could do things, ourselves. And unfortunately, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that, and I know others didn't realize that the roofs were not included in this new. So we're gonna hopefully take care of. We've got the design team's gonna look at basically what it would take to add roofs over there. And then Jen and I attended the Warren Barn meeting today. They're at about 50%, in terms of the design and that, and had some conversations about bathrooms, potential uses. It's very exciting. It's nice to have another organization kind of taking the lead, and it's not just us having to make all this happen. And it's nice to know that when it does come to fruition, that they will have a management company that will run any activities that take up place. So Framingham State has really done a remarkable job up there, and certainly I think a lot of people, I know there's been a lot of buzz in town about Henry's Place, and that's a great little spot to go and grab something to eat, and they're just really moving forward. The people might not realize that the barn that they're going to construct is sort of in place of the Henry's barn that fell down, so after the town purchased it. So in any case, so they are moving forward and still working through some details in that. So
Great.
I guess that's it for me.
Okay. Makita?
Yes, so fortunately I've had my wings clipped a little bit. I fell ill there for a little while, but one of the first things that I managed to do when I got up was to record that podcast, the Clock Town Chronicles. So a couple things I'm looking forward to, though, especially Select Board office hours happening this Saturday, where I will be joining. I think this is my first one, actually, at the farmers market.
The first one.
So
Yeah, you were
I'm
away.
very excited,
Good.
Yolanda and Brandy, to be out there. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. One other thing I'd just like to say, I know that, well, hopefully, I think some of this heat is going to break a little bit, but I do want to acknowledge that, first off, that it's dangerous out there right now, and I'm very glad that the town has been very proactive in letting folks know about cooling centers and opportunities around that. I think it's very easy to have that heat sneak up on you no matter what age you are. And you know, you think people are stubborn, they don't want to put in their AC units. You live in older houses like me, you know, it's like, you know, you don't want to do it, but, you know, at some point you got to give in or get to some place that's safe. So, you know, I think getting those messages out on social and other means the town's been doing has been very helpful. Just keep each other safe out there, make sure you're hydrating and all that good stuff.
Good.
So that's all I've got right now.
Okay, great. Joe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Congratulations again, that's pretty cool. Brings back some great memories. Wonderful memories. Affordable Housing Trust, we met last week. We're still talking about the plans that you all saw and seeing how that will go down the road, if it goes down the road, and do what we can to move it forward. Other than that, we have a summer concert coming up next Tuesday on the 23rd, and Yolanda already made that announcement and a reminder, so thank you for doing that. And I'm sorry I won't be here this weekend, but we'll do our best to come back with a championship out of Rome, New York. We'll see what we can do. 250 bocce teams. I don't know how we're going to fare. We came in 40th last time, so.
Nice.
We'll see
No
how
fear,
we can do
Joe.
it.
No fear.
There's no fear, no. Not now, I can see now, watch out. Joan, I can
That's
see
all
now.
the difference. The ability to see is
It's
a
vital.
key.
It's vital. It's a key, it's vital. But that's it.
Great.
And by the way, happy birthday.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, and like I said earlier, there's nobody else I'd rather be with on my birthday than you lovely people.
That is the line of the night.
Although I have to say, I have to give props to my husband and some friends who like had a pre-birthday thing for me yesterday. So
Nice.
I have
Nice.
to say, like, my husband was on top of the cake, and so there's leftover cake at home. But we've had
There you
cake.
go.
We
There
had
you
cake
go.
last night, so in anticipation of a 5:30,
Start time,
start
yes.
time tonight. So so thank you guys. But I don't have a whole lot. I've been kind of taking care of some personal things, and so I haven't been quite as out into the community as I have been in the past. I'm looking forward to office hours too. Just as an aside, because you guys would probably get a kick out of it, I went to go do the comprehensive plan newsletter for July. We've been doing it for a year now. The comprehensive plan newsletter has hit a year. Time flies.
Yeah. It certainly does.
So I'm hoping that means we're halfway through.
I think so. Yeah.
But looking forward to tomorrow night's visioning session, and hopefully it's a good discussion. And other than that, trying to take a little bit of time this summer to enjoy family and friends and a little bit of downtime. So I hope everyone else does that too. Although I'm looking forward to like our retreat and kind of resetting for the year. So that's really all I've got. So
Great, thanks. Great. I too want to wish you happy birthday. And yes, when you celebrate your birthday at a meeting like this or someplace else, it's just part of what we do. And I think I sat through at least one school committee meeting during, so it's what you do. But there's other ways to celebrate. So just two updates. One is, so I'm on the WeMo board, and we are getting ready to we are planning our fall session. It is happening on Friday, September 27th up at Devon's. And we're going to have a panel of women who are involved in municipal government. We have the mayor of Newton. We have the economic development director from Holliston, and she's done some stuff in her town. And I forget where the third person is from, but we're doing a fireside chat kind of thing. So I recommend look out for it. And if you can go, it's a great event. It's a great day to just go and meet with other women who are dealing with the same things that we are. And Joe, you're welcome to go as well, because it's beneficial to everybody. But And then I too am trying to get a little family time, getting to go down to New York in a couple weeks. But the one thing I want to let people know about is Hopkinton Center for the Arts. They have their free concerts on Friday nights, and on Saturday they are sponsored by Dell. And they have different communities. So on Friday, July 26th, it is Ashland Night, and it's I forget who it is, but it's someone that we all know, some band. But what? But anyway, it is Friday night. It's Ashland. It's the Ashland Day. So if you go as an Ashland resident, you get something special for coming from an Ashland. But they have some great concerts every Friday and Saturday night. They have some great theater coming up toward the end of August. Their teen college show is Pippin, the musical. And then on August 25th and 26th, they have this great event called A Play, a Pint, and a Pie. And it's short stories, but with your admission, you get a pint, so you get to have a drink, and a pie of some sort. And they partner with Dolce for some of that. So, yeah. It's like a meat pie. It's a meat pie, and then I think there's also a dessert pie. It's great, and it's, again, just supporting local theater and a local arts center who is really doing some great stuff. So, and that's all I got.
Can I just add one thing? I just, because I wasn't here for the beginning of the meeting,
Yeah.
and just listening to Helen and Mike, I thought you said it really well. It was amazing to me to listen to how much they've done. And then to listen to Joel and his group, and it's really, really amazing what the volunteers in our community do, right? And the amount they say that we're going to do. They set goals. We're going to do this, this, and this, and pretty soon, this, and this is accomplished. So I just wanted to mention that.
Well, Claudia, I mean, to your point, and I think that a lot of folks may not be aware, this town would not run without volunteers, period. It's the residents of the town that make the town happen, so.
Including us, right? Including
exactly.
The select board, the planning board, the committee, the school committee, the board of health. I mean, all the committees, they're all volunteers.
Yeah.
But I agree with both of you. I mean, I think about the farmer's market.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It started because a number of people said, we want to have a farmer's market, and they created it, and now,
That's right.
11 or 12.
A little bit more, yeah.
Yeah, and when they first started, it was all volunteer. After COVID, they then hired a market manager, which I think has only improved what's going on there. So, yeah.
Let's not forget like DPW who helps, maintain
I mean,
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely,
yes.
Michael.
Right, Michael. I mean, yes, our volunteers do a lot, but I also believe it's the hand in hand with our town staff and the collaboration that happens. So, and if you want to volunteer, we still have some openings. So feel free to step up and help out. And on that note, our next meeting will be August 7th. We're using it as a retreat. It will be a posted meeting. We will not be televising it, correct? It's not a televised meeting. If you want to come and listen, you're more than welcome. And then our next regular meeting is Wednesday, August 21st. Lots of other meetings in between. Feel free to jump in, go see them, participate in local government. Get involved. And with that, if I could have a motion to adjourn and a second.
Seconded.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Makita. All those in favor of adjourning? Aye. Thank you all for watching. That wraps up our meeting. It's about 9:20. Thanks for hanging in there if you did. And if you have any questions, make sure you reach out. And yes, stay cool and safe. And that wraps our meeting for July 17th. Have a great day and rest of your evening.